Well, I just want to start. I mean, I kind of said this in the email I sent you guys, asking to do this, but I was at the 2016 Operation Avalanche screening in Salt Lake,
Yeah.
where you did the big thing on stage, uh,
What, are you kidding?
for Nirvana the band.
You were there
Yeah, I was
when I went
there.
up and Jay went up?
Yeah, Jay went up first, and he did his thing, and
Oh,
then you came on
wow.
stage, and the audience had no idea what was going on. Um, but
Dude,
not
that's
only,
crazy.
yeah, not only I was there, my foot's technically in the episode because on one of the reaction shots of the audience, I had my like it was pretty rude. I mean, I was like 16, probably shouldn't have done it, but I had like my foot up, kind of on the armrest in the seat in front of me. So, you
You
know,
were Mr. Big Time. Like you were
I was
Mr. Big
Mr.
Time.
Big Time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know the type. I know the type.
yes, yes. If I just would have been one row lower, I could have really
Wait, I
been
want
in
to try
it.
to show Casa Loma.
Oh yeah.
There, do you
Oh
see it?
wow.
I guess
Not
if you don't really
for
care about Toronto, then seeing Casa Loma is not that cool. But
uh
there it is.
yeah, I mean, I've heard Toronto's great. I want to go. I mean, it'd be hard now
We
with
always wanted
COVID.
to make an episode at Casa Loma, but
Really?
yeah, it never worked out.
Yeah. And I don't know if I
Okay,
could even.
but
No, I'm sorry.
you did you have a question about that screening? I'm amazed. I've never spoken to anybody who was there. What did it seem like was happening to you?
Yeah, I mean, well, so I kind of already knew. I mean, I'd seen the Dirties, right? At this time I was like 15, 16, so I already was somewhat familiar with your
Uh,
work. Um, and I going in, I didn't know what Nirvana the band was though at that point, and I didn't really know who Jay was.
well, it hadn't. The television series
Yeah,
hadn't come
yeah.
out yet at that point because we would have just started shooting
Mm-hmm.
season one
Yeah.
when we were at Sundance. So yeah,
Yes.
it wouldn't have come out for probably almost another
Mm-hmm.
year after that.
I mean, my brother had briefly told me about the web series, but I had not seen it. So when Jay came on stage, I assumed it was something you guys were doing, just because I knew your style already.
Uh,
Um, but then once you came out, I was like, okay, there's Matt, and you did the whole thing, and the audience just had no idea. I mean, because we didn't have any, obviously we don't have context, right? It's
I
not like,
imagine that we looked quite ridiculous. Oh, whoa, look, hey, there's a couple. She climbed up on the thing. Let me try to show you.
oh yeah,
I'll show you behind my shoulder so it doesn't look like we're spying. But look at that.
oh wow,
That's the Casa
that's,
Loma
I mean, that's an
brick wall.
Instagram, yeah, but
You're
that's
not
the
supposed to
shot.
climb on
That's
that.
the shot for
Yeah, she's
Instagram or
getting it.
whatever.
She's
That's
getting it.
dope.
Wow.
That's wicked. But
Okay.
But yeah, and then afterward, I mean, so it went through, then, the movie starts. It's not like before the movie I mean, afterwards you explained, obviously, right? In the Q&A after the movie, you're like, yeah, this was all I mean, this was what we do and stuff. But, Sundance
Oh,
is all old people, so, um, you know, I
whoa.
still think a lot were confused.
Well, you know what? Especially at that screening, because that was right in uh, Salt Lake City, right? Like that was
Hmm.
right in. I think a lot of people think that. Well, I wonder what they think Sundance is, but like it's quite far away from the city with the
Yeah.
airport, and
Hmm.
that's where a lot of like Mormon older people live
Yeah, yeah. It's all the
in
locals.
SLC.
It was a
Yeah,
lot of locals, and I'm a local, so I mean, because Park City is kind of a nightmare to even get to during Sundance.
yeah. We just
Um,
got to drive through that long, winding uh, mountain valley road,
hmm.
but it's quite beautiful once you get there.
Yes, it is. And the theater you did it at was not the theater that is like in the episode. You think it's like maybe the Egyptian or something. It's like
Right.
you use two different things because obviously Kevin Smith, I don't believe, was there in Salt Lake City, and it shows
No,
him in
that
the
was at the
audience.
screening of his film at the Egyptian. And that we didn't plan, obviously, we didn't think that was going to happen. It was just blind luck that he had
Hmm.
a film screening at the same time. And I knew him from having made the Dirties. And
Hmm.
so we had asked on a wing and a prayer if he'd be in the episode. And he was like, sure, come on.
Yeah.
And so we just went to a screening, shot that entire scene with him, went
Hmm.
inside, shot the stuff with him in the audience. And it was like, this is the nicest guy
Hmm.
I've ever met in my
Yeah.
life. It
He's
was
dope.
crazy.
Yeah.
And then we just cut them together along with a third theater that we shot in Toronto.
Okay. Was there a reason you did Salt Lake City for the that big scene?
Yes, because it was like the biggest theater,
Mm-hmm.
and because it was the place where the staff who were handing over the microphones and letting us run the Q&A. Like, maybe a lot of people don't know this, but like at film festivals, there's like a whole infrastructure of programmers and normally interns that are managing the back of house, that are managing the guests coming and going, the directors coming up and answering
Mm-hmm.
Q&As. And typically in the satellite screenings that aren't the opening night screenings,
Mm-hmm.
that staff is, I won't say that they're not as good, but they're way more inexperienced. And we
Sure.
knew this just from having gone to TIFF so many times.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought, oh, at this screening at like kind of the city theater away from the festival would
Mm-hmm.
be the best place for us to go, and nobody will know us and the staff will just kind of go with the flow. And they did. And it's a testament to luck, I guess, that nobody was like, what are you doing? You can't do
Yeah.
this. I think because they'd never met me. They didn't like, maybe I was that crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of directors who go to Sundance that are a lot more psychotic and demanding than,
There's some oddballs in the Q&As, yes.
yeah, definitely.
But and so did you try to get Dirties into Sundance?
Yes. In fact, it was the first festival that we submitted it to. And when we got rejected, I was like, oh man, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
My life is over.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when you're that age, you think that that's like the best, or sorry, the worst thing that could happen to you, because it is the best festival in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and or at least for North American films. And I was so crushed. But what was awesome is that you submit to Slam Dance and Sundance kind of at the same time. And so
Mm-hmm.
when Slam Dance accepted the film, we were like, oh, wow, so this is great. Like, we're going to be at Park City at the same time. And it kind of fit. It was like the size of that festival and the scope of it was really kind of perfect for the movie that we had made. And
Yeah.
so it was really like, and where it led, I would almost argue was even better for what it led to, because the type of people who got to see it and the fact that we were the big film at this small
You won
festival
the
while
top
Sundance was
prize.
going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we won best film, and that we never would have done that at
Yeah.
Sundance. And I wonder, I mean, having played at both, like they're both incredible festivals, but for different types of films.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean at the time, because I've been going to Sundance since I'm like 10 years old. At the time, my
You're
brother
so
was
lucky that that's like the backyard festival
yeah,
in your
it's
town. Like,
they have a
what
locals
a
badge. I
gift!
can see all the movies I want for like a couple $100. It's great.
Wow.
But my brother was like, yeah, there's this movie at Slam Dance this year about like this school shooting. It's in a documentary style, and we almost went. Um, but I was super young. I'm like, I don't know what Slam Dance is. I don't care.
I also, you
But
would have been like what, 10 years old or something like that.
I'm
Like, why would you?
21. Yeah, I would have been like 13, probably a little young.
It was 2013 when that movie came
Yeah, I
out.
would have been 13 years old. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
look young.
you know
I
what?
look young, but yeah, no. So that I mean that's great.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then just one other operation, or with that whole Operation Avalanche Sundance thing. Because in the episode it shows on. I mean, it shows the movie theater screen. It shows the fake Operation Avalanche, obviously. I'm assuming was that just edited and after? I mean, you didn't play it at any of the screenings, that footage, did you?
No, in fact, we didn't even know exactly what it was going to be. We
Mm-hmm.
knew that there was going to have some type of like pedophile like story to it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we knew that it was going to make Jay look really bad. But we did
Mm-hmm.
not. In terms of storyline, I don't even think we had the the idea that Jay was really upset that I had screwed him over in the film. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if we'd even written that yet, because the the dirty secret is that when we went to Sundance with that film, we didn't really know a lot of what the story was going to be. We just thought, oh man, this is such a great opportunity. Let's see if we can put these guys on different pages and see what happens. And so a lot of that episode got written by us wandering around the festival and coming up
Yeah,
with stuff.
sure.
So so that's an indirect way of saying that we did not have that film nowhere close. Andy, the editor and cinematographer, had edited it together like months later. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I'm not remembering that wrong. But it was months afterwards. And then we put that in digitally um,
Mm-hmm.
once it was finished.
Are people generally cool up in Sundance? Is it a cool crowd in Park City? I mean, is
They're the
everyone
nicest. Nobody
the
gave us trouble. Well,
nicest?
you watch it. Yeah, I mean, you see in the
Yeah.
episode those ladies who are with Jay playing the piano, the people that he talks to in the street. everybody, I would say all the locals from that area were unbelievably nice. I would say almost to the point of caricature. Like they have such a welcoming, warm attitude. I think with certain types of people, God knows, I'm sure a lot of people find the Mormons extremely intolerant, but
Hmm.
to us, they were like, come on in.
The Mormons are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to ask about this new film you have coming out, and at 13,000 feet.
Oh,
I
I'm
know
amazed that hasn't come out yet.
it's
That's
yeah,
funny.
I know in America. I mean, I don't know about
Yeah,
Canada.
I guess it hasn't. Yeah, I'm just realizing now that it hasn't been theatrically released yet. Because that film is directed by my friend Kazak
Hmm.
Radwanski, and I was acting in it with Dara Campbell, who's an incredible actress.
Hmm.
And if you've never seen Kaz's films, he made a movie called Tower in 2012 that was very influential to my friends and I. I would say
Hmm.
Toronto filmmakers making movies at this time, and it's very good, extremely funny. Like this movie is worth watching. It's it's not shot in a documentary style like formally it's not that similar, but lots of amazing close-ups, and the characters that this guy puts on camera are amazing.
Just
And
awesome.
this was the first time that he had made a movie with people who he sort of knew who were actors. And so
Hmm.
that's sort of what this movie is. It's kind of like a character study of a woman who's almost slowly losing her mind,
Hmm.
who the audience is basically put right in her face, and they never get a break from like a close up on her. And it's sort of up to you as the audience to try to figure out if she's okay or if she's really like completely
Yeah.
lost it. I'm doing like that's my version of the pitch. I'm sure Kazak would talk about it in a completely different way.
And you had that
And I played her
Toronto,
boyfriend.
and premiered that Toronto last year, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I know you have and then you have the Matt and Ann coming out, or another
Well,
one
we're
that's
shooting it right now. We're shooting
shooting
Kaz's
right
new
now.
movie. We've been shooting it since I want to say the summer sometime, but it's still in production. We're trying to have it finished like for sometime next year, but we're like only midway through filming it.
So you still able to film out there with, COVID and everything? I mean, you can still do some
Yeah,
stuff
well,
or
most of the film is outside. As you can see,
hmm.
there's all kinds of. Wait a minute, can we see them? Like there's in Toronto, people are still outside. Everybody's filming movies on the street, more or less. People filming movies behind us. Those guys are filming something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what type of thing they're filming, but let's get a
Cool.
look.
Nice workout video or something.
Exactly.
I know everyone asks you, about your projects, what's coming next. I know you can't say much. I've heard rumblings about this game show project. Can you say anything about that, or like
I'm
game
amazed
show
that
on the
you heard about
street?
that. Yeah, we shot it. We shot man, I don't know how much I can say about it because I don't think I've ever talked about it before. Have I? Did you read me saying something about it to somebody?
I I just heard around. Yeah, not. I don't even think it was. I one of the groups, like the Facebook Nirvana band group or something. I mean, just. And I
We
think there's a
yeah,
picture of you guys and like you in a suit and like Jay
I
wearing.
know, yeah. Well, that's from it. And yes, we shot a pretty insane project that is well, it's in the same sort of style except it is man. Well, yes, it is a game show. But the way that we shot it is very much like the way that we shot Nirvana the band the show. But that's not like it's not finished. Like I can't say much about it.
Fair
But it's
enough.
extremely cool. I'll say that. I'm very very proud of it.
But I mean, obviously, no release window or anything or how it's
And
going to
nothing
come
I can
out.
talk about. No, no, no,
Nothing.
no.
Yeah, yeah. Well, awesome. Well, just one or two more questions. Any with the Kid Detective? I mean, I don't believe you were involved with that.
Tangentially, I
Yeah,
gave moral support when I could.
moral support. Any interest ever of doing something in a traditional, you know, it's all actors
Like
like
movies with
that?
a script. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The next thing that we're going to shoot, I think in the spring, we were going to shoot it over the summer before the pandemic. But the next project that I'm directing, that's a film, is a completely scripted, all actors movie. So it's a huge departure from that style. So yes, I'm like that's the next thing that I'm doing. We're making another TV series right now. That's what Jay and I were
Hmm.
working on right when you called. That's why I had to run out of the house. I got thrown
Awesome.
out by Bird,
Yes.
but we're trying to finish that before. Um, well, it's an ambulance. You want to
Uh-oh.
see?
Oh yeah.
Can you see it?
All the way. Oh yeah. All the way down there.
Um, but that film we're starting to shoot in the spring, provided nothing goes wrong, provided nothing
Yes.
bad happens. Yeah.
So nothing
We're
was
in a
really.
busy spot. Look at
Yeah,
all these
busy.
people.
Yeah.
This is kind of wicked.
Wow.
There's a guy getting up there with his bike.
A lot of stairs. Looks like a great place to run, exercise.
Yeah, these are the Casa Loma stairs where in that movie Scott Pilgrim,
Sure.
Captain America grinded down them and then exploded into
Oh,
flames at the
really?
bottom.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's grinding that rail. In fact, we could do the whole Scott Pilgrim tour up here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Jay lives right down there. So when I got thrown out, I came here.
You like Scott Pilgrim? You like that movie?
Okay, I've got story issues with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the movie's unbelievable, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that like the cut to cut momentum of it is second to none, and really like second to
Mm-hmm.
none. It's crazy, and I think it's kind of sad that um, that director abandoned some of that style. Like I know that people think that Baby Driver kind of maintains some of that aesthetic, and that his other
Mm-hmm.
movies maintain that aesthetic, but it just wasn't quite the same as it was in
Mm-hmm.
that kind of comic book video game realm that Pilgrim had. And I wonder if he sort of felt scarred by the reaction to that movie, and he sort of abandoned some of that aesthetic, because in my opinion, that was so groundbreaking, like bringing in sort of like basically Street Fighter mechanics
Mm-hmm.
to an 8-bit mechanics to, well, I guess 16-bit mechanics to storytelling in that way. But I think the movie suffered from major script issues,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I think that he needed to have rewritten the comic so that
Sure.
they weren't ex-boyfriends, or that Sarah needed to beat the ex-boyfriends before he could be with Ramona, not
Yeah.
get with Ramona and then fight the evil ex-boyfriends. To me, that's absurd,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it killed a lot of the heart of the film.
It's too
But
bad. Yeah.
but but I know that I'm a minority in that opinion on
I
Pilgrim.
generally agree. I mean, it made no money, so I guess people at the time, it has a cult following now, but.
I think that the reason that audiences didn't respond to it is because narratively, it is just not. It's impossible to connect with that
Mm-hmm.
character, because he gets what he wants in Act One. In
Mm-hmm.
Act One, he gets
Yeah.
what he wants, and so you wind up being disengaged, and then a lot of his behavior gets interpreted as just petulance and insecure and childish. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
really, he could have been an epic hero character who is
Yeah.
like, I love this rollerblade delivery woman so much that I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to fight these 7 mythical beasts
Mm-hmm.
to get her attention or get her to like me or whatever. Now, I'm sure you could tear that criticism of it apart, but to me, it seemed like a huge gap. It's something that
Yeah.
worked well in the comics, but did not work as
So,
a story, as a single film.
yeah. What's the temperature there right now? Is it
Not
cold?
bad. I don't know what it is in Fahrenheit, but it's 14 degrees.
Okay. So it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up. There's just a couple more. Cash Cab. You were on Canadian Cash Cab.
Yeah, that's right.
How was that?
Well, I think that was like, I don't know, 10 years ago. I was
Yeah.
in a trivia team,
Mm-hmm.
and that trivia team got invited to be on Cash Cab. And I can tell you the whole thing is like so set up.
Yeah.
They like tell you beforehand, because they'd called me and been like, and they were like, Matt, can you come to this address? We're all going to hang out together. And I was in the middle of the day. I was working on something with Kurt Lobb, actually, that we were editing something. This is
Sure.
way before the Dirties. And I was like, no, I'm not going. What do you mean? I mean, I'm working on something. You're like, it's Cash Cab. Come on. It's Cash Cab. We're going to be on it. And so then we went, and we all had to act so surprised. And at the end, I remember them giving me money, like we'd won, and they gave me all this
Mm-hmm.
cash, and then they
They
said
take.
you have to give the money back.
Mm. Why?
It's like fake, and then
You
they
don't
send a
win.
check.
Oh, okay.
No. I mean, I never saw
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
penny of that money though. I never saw a penny.
Who got it? Your friends or?
Yeah, well, your friends. That's some way of saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't see a penny. But yeah,
Because you guys did pretty well. I
I
mean,
think we won, but we could have done way better. Like I think they realized that we were basically going to get everything, so the man stopped the
mm-hmm.
cab as fast as he could. He was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, you're getting out here." Also, insane inconvenience. It's like they drive you to some random place in the city and drop you off. I think they
Oh,
left us in
they don't,
Yorkville or something.
they don't take you
No,
back.
we had left. We got
Dang.
left. In fact, we had to spend a lot of the money getting a real cab
Yeah.
to go back to where we were, and I had to go all the way back to Kurt's place, which was way in the East End.
Yeah, they need to cancel Cash. I don't know if it's still on the air. Maybe it's not on the air, but They need to
Yeah.
cancel Cash Cab if it is. You mentioned your editor, Kurt Loeb.
He also edited Kid Detective. Like they
Oh,
just finished
really?
it. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. On the Dirties, it said you and who
And
edited that
Evan, the
with you?
director,
Evan.
the
Yeah,
director of the
yeah.
Kid Detective, was the co-editor of the Dirties.
Dirties, and then your later projects, Operation and Nirvana the band.
And that was mostly
You're
Kurt.
not credited as an editor on either of those. Are you
No.
still involved at all? I mean, obviously you're involved somewhat, but
Well, I think if you're taking your project seriously as a director, then yeah,
hmm
you're editing tons of stuff, but you
hmm
just aren't like, I'm not the person who's like, okay, I'm going to sit down and figure this out. Like,
hmm
there's no way. I mean, Kurt is like the genius who more or less created like half the stuff in Nirvana the band,
yeah.
that I never could have done if it was just me at a computer.
hmm
But I think if you're taking your work seriously, then you're always involved in the edit. I mean, everything I've ever done has more or less been created in the
hmm
edit. So
Sure.
I would say that's the most critical part, especially for young people like getting into filmmaking, like learning how to edit and making that your main thing, like making it the thing that you get obsessed with. I would
hmm
say is almost more important than getting obsessed with writing. Like
Editing.
editing and acting, like are two things that are, you can't go wrong. You can't learn too much. You
Yeah.
can't practice too much. You can't do it too much.
I mean, because
Um,
you don't really write your scripts out. I mean, you've said that. I mean, it's all so improvised and
yeah, but we're
then,
improvising within a written structure.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like what I was just doing with Jay, like when we first got on the phone,
hmm
like we were trying to figure out the outline of this animated show, and it like we spend so many hours trying to figure out what the basic structure of what the story should be, so
hmm
that then we can comfortably mess around and just make up all of our dialogue and have things change once we're in that space. But there's still a great deal of writing. I mean, Nirvana
hmm
the band, like there were 7 writers on that show, and for good reason. It's because everybody's always contributing ideas and trying to figure out how to get a beginning to twist into something really interesting for an ending.
But with doing it in and then with an animated project, wouldn't that restrict it? I mean, a decent amount? Because I mean, there's maybe it wouldn't, but I mean, isn't that a little more set? I mean, you have to. But I guess you're all doing
No, we
dialogue
found out it's
for.
the opposite. It's actually way more free, because one of the big things that would restrict us on shooting something like Nirvana the band is that we're slaves to physical reality.
hmm
So we'd never be able to cut Matt and Jay in ways that would break spatial orientation. Like, let's say
hmm
there was an amazing line that Jay said at outside the Rivoli, and we wanted to edit it with something that I had said inside the apartment. Well,
hmm
it's absurd. Like, we'd have to reshoot it if we wanted to get that same thing bouncing off itself. But now we can cut anything against anything, and we can cut out of context audio with anything we want. Audio that we get from talking with people in the street, like all of a sudden that can be moved to anywhere we want. So in terms of the improvisational process that we would use for the show, it's like on crack with an animated series, because we lose that physical restriction.
hmm Well, yeah,
Once it starts getting animated, then we can't change anything. But so I
yeah,
guess in
yeah,
that sense, it's a bit limiting. But and I guess no, it wouldn't be on crack. It would be on cocaine.
yeah, yeah. I think cocaine. Yeah,
Well, maybe they both give you the same rush. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
It's similar. I think crack's a little more intense, probably, but
You've smoked crack and snorted cocaine?
oh yeah, obvious. Yes, of course.
No, in
No,
Utah?
no, no. I I haven't. I mean, there's plenty.
Yeah,
Utah mostly has a prescription drug problem because of the Mormon shame and
pills.
guilt. Yeah,
Yeah, right, Jamie. Exactly. It's a powerful thing.
yeah. Well, final. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah.
you well, you gotta just chill. Come
I'm just
on.
nervous. I
I,
mean, I'm a really big fan, man, and
but what would you be nervous about? What do you think?
well,
You're gonna say
you're out
something
and
wrong?
about. I didn't want to make it.
Hey, look, I've been quite clear. I was thrown out of Jay's house
You were
so that
thrown
he
a.
could be on a panel. I need to go
Yeah,
back there so we can finish working on what we were working on. But this is
yeah,
it.
yeah. I
This is
mean,
my pathetic life.
well, I mean, you're
If I
working
wasn't
a
talking to
lot,
you, I'd just be on the street.
but you'd be
I'd be
working.
behind Jay's house. No, he's on a panel. I can't work. I
That's
guess I
true.
can think on my own about what we're going to record next. But
Yeah, yeah. Did you ever go to video stores as a kid?
all the time. I love them. With you don't know this chain. I mean, you know Blockbuster, which we had in
Absolutely.
Canada, but in Toronto and sort of the GTA generally, there was a place called Rogers Video,
Hmm.
and in episode 2 of the web series, we tried to do like a Rogers Video uh, homage where I play a Rogers guy, and that's like the Verizon guy or the Sprint
Yeah.
guy who goes to your house to fix your internet. And so that's who I pretend to be when I go into Now Magazine. But Rogers was actually the company delivering our show.
Hmm.
And well, you know what? I probably can't even get into this legally. But suffice it to say, I spent much of my childhood in Rogers Video. I
Sure.
loved it. They had a 7 for 7 deal. You get 7 VHSs for $7. That's where I first saw most of the movies that wound up influencing me.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that's pretty common with most filmmakers that they're
Sure.
obsessed with video stores. Just looking at the boxes, being like, "Whoa, look at all this!"
Yeah. No, I work at a video store. My mom owns a video store in Utah. It's like the only one
Oh
in
wow.
Utah still. So, you know, I'm into it. But business isn't great. Business is not great. People don't really
Well, yeah,
care
it seems like
anymore.
everywhere, all the major video stores in Toronto have closed. There was this amazing one, Queen Video, that I think we put in a few episodes of the show, at least in the web series.
Yeah, I
And
saw that. Yeah.
and I think all the locations are closed. Maybe the Bloor
Yeah.
Street. I think they're all closed. But it's a dead art, which is too bad because
Hmm.
that was a magic place.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame.
Not
Last,
just a shame; it's a waste.
it's a way. Yeah, I mean, are you all into the theater experience? Do you care about seeing movies in the theater?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love seeing movies in theaters. I prefer it. In fact, I can't even really find the motivation to watch movies at home unless
I
I'm like
agree.
really really interested in watching something with
Hmm.
somebody. But but going to the movies is still like it's a magic experience.
Hmm.
And
Like,
I don't think I'll ever be able to shake that.
yeah, like seeing Kid Detective was only in theaters, from what I understand. It wasn't on digital. And that it made me like even more excited, like especially this year. It's like, this new movie because there's been nothing
That you
good
can
this.
only see in theaters. Yeah, it almost has like a kind of
Hmm.
like intangible magic to it, right? It's like
Yeah.
drinking Coca-Cola out of a glass bottle. Like you're
Hmm.
like, I don't know why, but this is better.
It's
And
more
I
exclusive.
can't
Yeah.
describe it. I can't
Hmm.
describe it, but something about it, there's some magic in this.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm so stupid that I'll probably be a slave to that my entire life. I used to when I was living in the house that we would shoot the show in. Um, like at night and I would be alone. I'd be like, oh, I got nothing to do. What will I do? I would walk down and go see movies by myself. And
Hmm.
then sometimes on the weekends, I would go and you can just go from theater to theater watching like little tiny bits of every movie because they have those big megaplexes in the city.
Hmm.
And these are like some of the best days of my life where
Yeah.
you just feels like all that matters is the fact that you should watch movies and everything else kind of stops.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
the only other big movie I saw in theaters this year besides Kid Detective was Tenet, which was not very good.
Hey, I saw Tenet too. I had a crazy experience watching it where the first 45 minutes played and I was like, I couldn't hear anything they were saying. I was watching it just laughing constantly. I
Hmm.
was like, Nolan, you're so fucking crazy. What are you doing? It's like
Yeah.
talking about like a kid who's been given everything he wants. And he's
Mhm.
just like, okay, I want to have all the guys run in and they shoot at the people. And then I want Denzel Washington's kid to run in and we don't know if he's good or bad. And you can't hear anything they're saying. And then
Hmm.
the projector broke because I was seeing it in IMAX. And then they restarted the movie from the beginning. So I had to watch the opening 45 minutes of Tenet
God.
twice. It was like, it's indescribable.
Did
If
you
it had
consider
stopped
leaving?
again,
Did you consider leaving?
um, well, it was the first time I'd seen a movie in a while. And so,
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
yeah, I was like, I had to. And the theater was empty. It was just me. Like I had to stay. Plus, it was like it was almost like punishment. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
God's punishing me. I
Yeah.
deserve this. Every once in a while I'll be punished, and I think, yeah, I need to accept this. My life has been good enough that I need to be punished now.
Yeah, I saw an article, Christopher Nolan essentially saying he doesn't understand why people have such a problem with the audio mixing and that people are spoiled, essentially, is what he said.
Spoiled. The guy's so stupid. He's so stupid. I can't
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah, he's
Uh,
wild. Well, but his movies are deep, very deep.
I'd actually say they're the opposite of deep.
No, I
I
know.
think his films are so painfully superficial that you're waiting for some kind of numinous anything, like something that will penetrate you and be like, oh, the Prestige sort of had a little bit of that. But even then, I was like rolling my eyes too.
Yeah.
Bowie's pretty good. Bowie's good. I like when the guy cuts off his own finger.
Yeah. That's a treat.
Yeah.
Final general question.
You've had about 8 of these final questions. Keep asking them,
I
but
know.
stop labeling them as
I'm
final.
sorry. Look. Okay. I know. um. Then I'm gonna not say final yet. Maybe final. Maybe not.
You're killing yourself here, man.
I know. This is bad. This is not releasable, I don't think.
Well, yeah, you'll be the judge.
But I saw you were on Finn Wolfhard's podcast. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there in like within weeks, I think, that kind of level of
Oh,
popularity.
you'll be on Finn's podcast too. I'll tell
No,
him
I'm
about
gonna
you.
be
I'll
to
say
I'm gonna be to his level of popularity here soon.
you need a Stranger
No, I'm
Things,
just
man.
kidding.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
You need a Stranger Things.
Yeah. I have never even seen. Have you seen Stranger Things?
Yeah, I saw the first season. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I mean, I've heard it's great. It's a phenomenon, really.
I really liked Winona, although she was a bit like desperate, like shrill mother. And I liked uh, Finn has issues, like I've always said. Like Finn, I mean, I know the going idea is that Finn can't really act, and there's some truth in that. But he well, he's doing his best. So when I watch it, I see the effort,
hmm
unfortunately, and I don't see the result. I see the effort of what Finn is trying to do. I see him reaching
Yeah,
and
reaching.
really reaching sometimes. And
Yeah,
he does the fake tears and that thing.
yeah. But
Yeah.
nice kid though.
No.
No. Yeah.
No.
General advice, young filmmakers,
For
and
Finn?
something.
Oh,
No, and
what
something that
what
annoys
I
you that you see if young filmmakers do.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. I don't really think about that. Maybe in the moment I'd be like, "This is annoying." But what I say to anybody who's trying to make movies is to basically figure out what it is that makes you uniquely you. Which I know is kind of trite, like you've heard it all before advice. But to think of that practically and to think, okay, so we'll take you for example. Like you are a kid from Utah who's had a
hmm
very specific experience of growing up near the Sundance Film Festival with a mom who owns a video store and has been inundated, surrounded by
hmm
popular culture, at least Western popular culture, in whatever its myriad forms. And that's affected you in who knows what ways. Like only you know that. And so let's say that you were going to say, okay, I'm going to make my first feature and I want to make it tomorrow. My advice would be, okay, find a way to frame it around your mom's video store, around the Sundance Film Festival, and around somebody who has their eyes on the stars of, oh, one day I can be that. Right now, I'm just a loser clerk in this video store, but
hmm
right down the street is the biggest film festival in the world. And how can I get there? And I think that the journey of this character would be him realizing, oh, wait, even if I could become the big star who walks down the red carpet at Sundance, I actually would lose a part of myself that makes me better than that.
hmm
And and I think it's about him realizing, oh, I kind of like working in this video store, or there's things I get from this that I don't want to lose. And if you could make that this guy's journey where he actually does have some kind of breakout success or whatever, I don't know, and you'd be able to shoot it all at Sundance illegally, you'd be able to shoot it in this video store, like you'd be able to use all of this stuff that, if you think about it,
hmm
only you could do. Like
hmm
Steven Spielberg with millions of dollars would probably not be able to recreate it the same way that you could, because you have unique access by being young, by being closely associated with these things, and by having knowledge of the way these systems work that
hmm
nobody could ever really learn. And so that, I mean, this is very specific advice to you, but like this is what I would say to anybody who is trying to do something: is figure out what your life is about, and in a physical way what's around you, right? Like
Yeah.
my life was like about living in a place like Toronto, being obsessed with movies, it's not so similar for the movie I just pitched you, and
Yeah.
trying to figure out how that media affected me to see the world and to see the friends that
Hmm.
that I love so much, right? And
Hmm.
how those two play off one another. And
Yeah.
also like megalomania, thinking that you can do anything you want, and feeling like, oh, I should be important,
Hmm.
and I'll do anything I can to get there, right? Like Matt in the show, or Matt in the
Hmm.
Dirties, or Operation Avalanche is often about somebody who feels like he's just misunderstood, and if only people would understand him. And that is very much like a vestigial organ of my childhood, of
Hmm.
feeling like, oh man, if only people
Yeah.
knew that what was
Yeah.
in my mind, then
Yeah.
they'd like me, basically.
Hmm.
And you've got your own story, which
Yeah.
is unique to you, and is, I'm sure, very painful to even think about, but it's
Hmm.
there. It's whatever
Sure.
makes you you. And
Hmm.
so finding out what that is, and then figuring out what the story is that can get an audience to see that, is what I encourage all young
Yeah.
filmmakers to do, because that's your power.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's great. And if I do that Sundance, if I do that Sundance thing, I might borderline be ripping off your episode. But
No, are you kidding me?
yeah.
There's no such thing. You can't
Yeah.
look, if you're making something that's personal, and it truly is personal, you can't
Hmm.
rip anything off. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. Like you can steal all kinds of moves, you can steal ideas, but if at the end of the day it really does represent you, like if it truly represents you, then
Hmm.
fundamentally it can't be a ripoff, because you're
Yeah.
not a ripoff,
Yeah. Well, that's
right?
great. No, I agree. I mean, that's awesome. Uh,
Yeah, it's awesome to not be a ripoff.
it's awesome to be an original, unique. We're all unique, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
for better
thank
or
you.
worse.
That was the final question.
We did it. Hey, I'll show
Great.
you. Look, they lit up the side of the castle. Let's see if we can get a good look.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
getting a little dark there.
Yeah, but we'll still be able to see the silhouette against the sky, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, see? Look.
Wow. And can you like tour that? Do they let people inside to go through it, or is it?
No, that's where the mayor lives.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So every 3 weeks we elect a different mayor, and they live in the castle, and
Yeah,
basically,
yeah. That's the mayor gets not even, yeah, the mayor. That's respect.
yeah. Well, hey, come to
Respect
Toronto and
to.
be the mayor.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate you doing this.
You're welcome. It was great meeting you, and let me know
Mhm.
how that film goes, dude. I've got a good feeling.
Yes.
Video store is location. Don't let your mom close it yet.
Yes. If you're ever in Salt Lake City area, need to visit a video store, Top Hat Video. That's the
Yes, I'll be there.
place. All right. Thank you, Matt.
Okay. It was great meeting you, my friend. I'll see you around.
Appreciate it. Yep. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.